Look, a lot of people work with spirits, or so they claim. Hell, we all work with spirits whether we're occultists or not. And I'm willing to wager that most people that work with spirits are not working with what they think they are. I'm willing to wager, I'm willing to put money on it, that most people who claim to work with spirits are not working with the spirit that they think they are. Most people are not working with the spirit they think they are. I'm telling you, because by the very fact that I know that a lot of people who jump into spirituality don't even research, so they're just going off of what they think and what they feel, which is fine. There is a space for that, for sure, right? There's a space for being an Orphic practitioner. But along with going with your feelings, there should be a balancing aspect of going with your research, with your study, because that's how you get better. When you're climbing a ladder, you go with one hand and then the other hand, right? Left hand over right hand. It's very difficult to climb a ladder with one hand. So if you're going to go with how you feel, make sure that you're going with what you have studied as well, and that's going to build you up in a balanced way. But if you're just going with how you feel, best believe you're working with elementals who are masquerading as whatever you want to call them, right? Oh, I'm working with Shiva. They're going to say, sure, buddy. And this isn't something like, oh, you better look out or else your whole practice is going to be ruined. No, it's like, say that you want to... I remember back in the day playing Xbox, original Xbox. They had authentic Microsoft controllers. Some of y'all remember this because it still happens. There's authentic Microsoft controllers, and then there's those knockoff brands. I think there was like Turtle Beach and like Tiger something or some other off-brand controller. And you quickly realize that even though the Microsoft one was always a bill, right? It was always like $60-$80 for a new controller. You could find those knockoffs for like $20. So you go buy those knockoff controllers thinking that you're going to be just fine. And you realize after about a week, you see why that controller was only $20. The joystick starts floating off to the left. The B button stops working, right? One of the bumpers fall out. The microphone plug-in, it's all scratchy and you got to jiggle the cord just to get it, right? So when you pay that money for the Microsoft controller, you're going to get the quality that you actually need to do the job, right? But if you spend that $20 on that little knockoff brand and it breaks, then you have to go get another one, right? By the time it's all said and done, you've spent the same amount you were going to spend, but you've gone through so much hassle. Now, in the case of elementals, what fuels an elemental, what provides its sustenance, are specific pattern-based states. Pattern-based state, pattern-induced states. What do I mean by that? I mean that there's certain things that you do that take you into a state, specifically, right? Specifically. There's certain things that you do that take you into a state. We can call it a ritual. And it doesn't have to be a magical spiritual ritual. It could be a simple ritual. Like some people have an OCD. When they walk into the house, they have to touch all the doorknobs, cut on all the lights or something like that. After they do that, they feel safe. They feel like, okay, I'm officially home, right? When my dad used to get off of work when I was a little kid, we used to immediately run up to him. Hey, Dad, there's a new Dragon Ball Z toy out. Can you buy it for us? Right? And he would always say, can I get home first? And I'm thinking, like, you are home. What does that mean? But what he's saying is he needs to decompress. He needs to do whatever he needs to do to shift out of work state into home state. So every state is induced specifically by some type of pattern, some type of behavior. There are things that we do that induce specific states. There are certain things that I do before I start the live stream because it induces me into this state. Oh yeah. And each and every one of you have states that you employ to do certain things. If you're not in that state, it just doesn't feel right when you do it. What I'm saying is if you observe this with an occultist eye, if you observe this with a clairvoyant eye, you can begin to see that there is a spirit attached with that state that you're inducing. This is why we do rituals in general, because it brings forth certain spirits and it pushes away certain spirits. You ever heard of a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram? So whenever you see a habit pattern associated with a state, you will see an elemental spirit. For sure. For sure.